All right, so we're working through some of this retirement stuff. And we had to use the tax worksheet. So you know, some of the questions in here, right, are like, how much do you save in taxes by making this type of contribution or that, right? Do you get the idea how to do that?
Yeah.
So with the pre-tax contribution, right, you got to figure out, well, how much did you contribute, and add that back into what would have been your, and make what would have been your taxable income, and look it up in the, you know, tax table or worksheet, right? See what you save in taxes. Well, maybe you get an idea there. Right. Now the next example is about it, like employer matching plans. All right, so let's just define what that means. You may have heard of this. And these are the type of plans you go out there and you get yourself, you know, not necessarily a job, but more of a career, right? Not so much. I don't think the Dandy Mini Mart offers matching 401k plan, or do they? Does anybody here work for the Dandy or?
My grandma's girlfriend does.
It doesn't help.
Well, what? Grandma's girlfriend.
Or at least if you work part, but at the very least, part-time, you're not going to get these kind of benefits either, right? So an employer matching plan, for example, 401k is one of the most widespread. And the 401k plan, the 401k is, that's just like named after a section and paragraph of the tax code that was written in to allow this type of plan to happen, okay? So some employers will match your contribution to your retirement, right? And if they match your contribution, they're effectively doing what? Right. So if you put in 20 bucks, they put in 20 bucks, right? So it's as if you put in 40, right? It's not too bad, right? So some employers, okay, match your contribution. There are some limits, though, of course, as you can imagine. Okay, up to some percent of your annual salary. Okay, up to some percent of your annual salary. Okay. And usually they'll match anywhere up from like 0 to 4%. Usually, I mean, there's some exceptions, right? But that seems pretty common. 0 to maybe 4%. Okay. So let's say, and so there's a way to take full advantage of it, right? You can contribute an amount out of every paycheck. Yeah.
Right.
Let's say you make $100,000, right? And let's say you're working for an employer that will match your 401k contributions, double them, right? Up to say 5% of your annual. So what's 5% of $100,000? $5,000, right? And you would divide that by, let's say you get paid once a week, divide that by 52, right? What is that? Just real quick.
Just a little under $100.
Yeah, 5,000. Yeah, it would be just a little bit divided by. So you could contribute, or well, you can contribute anything you want, but like $96, we'll call it $100 a month, right, or a week, that you contribute to your 401k, and then the employer will add $100 to it. I'm just rounding here, yeah. If you want to contribute more, that's fine. If you want to put in $150 a week, they're only going to match up to that percent. Does that make sense? Okay. But now, you know, some people say, okay, I only want to put in $50 a week. Well, the employer is going to kick in how much? 50, when they could be kicking in almost 100, right? Matching you. So, like, to take full advantage, you want to like at least get to that maximum contribution, right? Matching thing. That makes sense? So that's generally how 401k works. You know, a lot of there's not many careers out there these days with pensions anymore. That's usually relegated to state employees like teachers, police officers, right? Fire, that kind of thing. They'll still have a pension, but the rest of the world generally uses 401k or something like that, or a 403b, which is similar, but anyway. So I'll kind of understand how an employer matching plan works. You want to try and maximize it if you can, right? So I can't afford $100 a month. I'm only going to put in 75. Well, you're not getting the most bang for your buck, right? It's like you're leaving money on the table. Yeah. All right. Oh, it's sad. Well, if you're fine, then talk about example 5.
Leo makes $75,000 per year. His company offers a 401k retirement plan in which they match 50% of his contributions to the 401k up to 6% of his salary.
Well, that's slightly different now. So, do you see the little difference here? They're going to go up to 6% of their salary matching, but are they matching his entire contribution? Just half of it, right? So if he puts in 100, how much are they putting in? Yeah, okay, right. So that's a little slightly different than what I've written up here. Go ahead.
The company allows employees to make contributions to the 401k to a maximum of 15% of their salary based on IRS contribution rules that pertain to the particular financial organization. Because Leo is younger than 50, his maximum allowable contribution to a 401k is $18,000.
Okay, so hold on. There's that, right? So now by law, separate from the employer, right? His maximum contribution legally under the tax code was 18. What did they say?
$18,000.
$18,000, right? All right, keep going.
How much should Leo contribute per month in order to maximize his employer's matching contribution?
Okay. Well, we're gonna read that again, huh? This could get a little bit confusing, all right? So 50% match. No, not word for word. Let's just like what would you call it? Synthesize read. We already did the word for word thing. We need to get it in there, right? So he's married, filing a joint return. So wait a minute. That's the time too. Think about it, joint.
How dare
I dare, yeah. There we go, Leo. 75,000. Okay. Is there anything about the 15%? Okay. So the company allows employees to make contributions for up to a maximum of 15% of their salary. So that could be a little more confusing,
They
right?
only cover up to 6%.
Yeah, right.
And 50% of that 6%.
And so they cap it at 15% of the salary, right? According to this company, right? So company allows contributions up to 15%. You guys putting this together in your brains back there? Okay. All right. Now, I might change something here. I may change their, let's see. What did they say in the problem here? They said 18,000?
Yeah. Yeah, the maximum allowed contribution.
In my notes here, like the last time I taught this, I used the 2020 cap, which was 19,500 per year. Let me just double check this what I did. No, I didn't. I think I made note of that. That's all I did.
So you use a number in there, but you made note of it.
Yeah, so I'm going to parenthesize that. So that 18,000, it's probably higher now, right? In 2020, it wasn't at 18,000. It was up to 19,500. So maybe it's like 20,500 now. I don't know. Okay. So let's figure out what the employer allowed max is. Employer allowed max. Well, they really threw, I remember this now, they really threw like a really complex, nasty mess at you right after defining what it was. They could ease you into the wading pool a little more gently. All right, so what's his annual salary? And they cap it at 15%, right? So 75K times that 15%. Check that, it should be 11,250. Is that what you got? You're a good man. All right, so that's the max you can put in there. So what is that monthly then? 'Cause that's what we're working with, right? Take that,
937.
right, over 12, and you get 937.50. Yes. Extend down here. All right, so that's his monthly. Now with the employer contribution up to 6%, right? You can get what? So if they do the with employer contribution up to 6%, right? His annual salary. I don't know if anybody's losing the thread on this problem or not. We're going to press on. And sometimes that's the way to go, and then you go back and look. Oh, I get it, right? Anyway, if that's the case, then just stick with it here. So let's take this 75K. Find out what 6% of that is, which is 4,500. So they'll match right up to what? Okay.
No, you don't have that.
Huh?
Have that.
Well, let's get monthly, right?
Your monthly and not-
Yeah. So let's get the monthly. So it's the 4,500 divided by 12, should come to 375 per month. All right. Let me put a box around that. Nope. No. Okay. Why did you say half?
Because it contributes up to 50% of that 6%.
Right, so that's, yeah, thank you. So there's like a couple of different ways you do this, right?
Yeah.
You could do the 75,000 times 3%. Wouldn't that effectively get you there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Or,
divide that by the cap.
right. So let's just take, we already got the number. Let's just take half of that. Right. And so maybe I could have like included in this one 750K times 0.5 times 0.06. They're only doing half, right? So 50% of 375. Right, that's going to be 187.50.
So they said that they would do half of 6% of your total income. That sounds really stupid.
Why is it stupid?
It's just, it's an unnecessary number of steps, but for a math problem, it makes sense to try and work.
I mean, these are the kind of things that are out there, right? Like, all right, so they might, and most employers are like competitively looking for, the best employees, right? And in whatever market they're in, this type of thing, they might not be competing with another market or industry that's offering 100% instead of 50, right? So they can keep it at 50. And so, they're not worried about losing workers to the auto plant if they're in a law firm, if that makes sense, right? So they're trying to be competitive, but, drawing in employees. And they sit down and, there's a plan administrator says, here's all the different plans we can offer. And this is what this plan will cost you with these types of employees at these salaries, right? And so they're going to weigh the benefits, right? And they probably took them a while to come to this plan, right? So, okay, this 100%, that's going to cost us a lot. No one else is doing that. We'll do 50, something along those lines, right? So let's get the total contribution. Total contribution altogether between Leo, right? Between Leo and his employer, right? So it would be the 375. That's what Leo should put in, right? Plus the 187.50. That's what his employer will kick in under these circumstances. And that comes to $562.50 per month.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, considering you're only putting in what?
It's like 375.
Yeah, but now let's get that annualized. Okay? And they said the IRS cap was how much in this problem? All right, so my concern is that's for a month, right? I want to make sure that I'm not going over the cap. I mean, you can probably look at it in your head and figure out you're not. Matthew,
What was the point of the 937? Okay.
937.
That's like the absolute maximum of the company allowed to contribute.
Right. Employer allowed max. Right over here. Per month.
Why do we care about that in the context of our own? We don't.
Well, because if you end up going over that, then we have to adjust our final numbers.
In the office.
Right.
I'm just looking at that, I think it's kind of out of place.
I know. Well, it is until at some point through your calculations, you go, whoa, I'm over the max here. Like maybe if the guy was earning 200,000 a year.
Oh, so it's like it's more like a check for the rest of it.
Yeah, maybe there's a problem in the book where it does go over that.
Okay.
So you kind of need to know how to.
So
that comes-
in that situation, the max wouldn't just be the answer there.
Yeah, since we're likely, but now we want to make sure that we're underneath the IRS annual limit of 18,000. Okay. So that's per month. So that's kind of our answer there. But let's get annual. Yeah, this is why I didn't do this one yesterday.
Why do they put a cap on?
The IRS.
Yeah.
Because they're all powerful.
Or I mean, like-
They're merciless gods of all they survey,
All right.
or for some other reason, I don't know.
I'm sure there's some financial reason.
No, because if they don't, right, the cap, like, they gear these things toward the middle class predominantly, right? And if there was no cap on it, it was legally allowable, as a billionaire, would you not take advantage of this and put several $100 million into an account like this with deferred taxes and all that, right? And use it for some other purpose other than retirement, yeah? Does that make sense, Paul? So put caps on it so that it's really only advantageous to, Joe Sixpack, pretty much, and upper Joe Sixpack. Who's Joe Sixpack? And there's Joe Champagne. Right? and then there's Joe on a Champagne budget. Oh no. I got no, it's Joe with a
Lost the analogy.
yeah, Champagne lifestyle and a beer budget. You got that, Joe, too. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I got confused, right? So the annual, let's make sure it's not over. So it's going to be the 562.50 times 12, I mean 67.50 a year. I mean, you could have worked that out in your head and saw it wasn't going to be over. Okay. And so this is under the IRS cap of 18,000 was this year.
In the problem.
Okay. Got it?
Got it.
That was a little bit, and that's kind of why I didn't jump on this problem yesterday. When I looked up and saw we had about 3 minutes left in class. I'm like, all right. So, and I wish they kind of, like, I do wish they maybe would have started out with a simpler example, where there's no, that's an employer cap, another 50% kind of thing, just, all right. Kind of like what I was talking about before I started this. You got that part right. It's how do you maximize, you kick in at least what they're willing to match the double with. Otherwise, you're kind of being silly. So, right. Well, there you go. Hey, I guess now I'm assigning the take home.
Whoa.
Okay.